Welcome to another episode of Your Voice Matters. Hello and welcome to another episode of Your Voice Matter. I'm your girl Viv Cunningham with Preferred Real Estate Brokers selling the American Dream here in Central Florida. So today I have with me my dear cousin Delvon and I have Beverly Martin, and we're going to be talking about. There's still an echo going on. Can you hear it? All
Okay,
right.
hold on a second.
Let me mute you.
Hold
Let
on a
me mute
second. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Can you hear that? No?
testing.
Okay, hold on a second.
It's like a radio on or something like that.
No, it's. Hold on a second.
All right, I'm going to mute you until it's time for you to talk. All right, can you still hear me? I'll mute you until it's time for you to talk. Okay, so today is Happy Father's Day. We're going to say Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and Happy Father's Day to all the moms out there that are father.
Yes.
There's just so much that is going on out there with being mom. There's a lot of moms out there that's being dad, and there's a lot of dads out there that's being mom. But we hats off to you. I hope you enjoy your day, and I hope you enjoy your Father's Day and make it a great day. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to be talking about adoption. God laid this on my heart when I went to go visit my daughter a couple weeks ago, and the pastor asked us to talk. But it was funny where there was someone else that was supposed to speak, but that person for some reason was sick and they weren't able to speak. So my daughter husband said to me, where my mother-in-law is here, and funny thing is my wife was adopted, so we got the opportunity to speak for a few minutes at the church, and it was pretty awesome to speak, and we had a lot of teary eyes, and other people was there talking. But Beverly and I was talking about being adopted and how important it is, when you're to be adopted. It's important for it saved life. Before we started the show, we were talking about how much life that it's saved in order to be able to um, you know, adopt someone. Because if no one adopts somebody, then what happened is here comes abortion. But Beverly and I were here talking about when we're parents of Jamaica. Where she talked about the rich parents being in Jamaica, how they send you off to go off and to have the baby, and then you come back without the child. And so Beverly was asking me, how is it that I feel? I said, until you walk inside somebody's shoes, you're not going to know. You are not going to know until you walk in that shoe. So when sometimes some people are telling you, I understand. No, you don't understand. The only way you understand is if it's has happened to you, and you have walked in that person's shoes. If it happened to you, then yes, you understand. But when you're telling somebody you understand, you might be just feeling empathy for them, because instead of you saying I understand. But it is such a empty feeling when they drop you off, wherever they drop you off at, and they drop you off, and then all of a sudden you come back home, and you come back home without the child. Beverly was asking me, was I able to hold the child? Yes, I was able to hold the child for a few minutes, and then after that I remember passing it off to someone. But being adopted, it is great. It's a great feeling, for you to be able to say, well, somebody cannot have a child, and you're gonna give that child up for because somebody else cannot have a child, or they cannot conceive or something like that. But we welcome you to this show, and the name of the show is being adopted and finding your family. And I'm going to tell my story about how my daughter Yvonne found me. She found me on Facebook, but it's a funny thing is when somebody finds you on Facebook, you don't believe or something like that. But she was able to find me on Facebook. I purposely didn't change my name because sometime I knew something like that would happen where she might be looking for me. But in New Jersey, when adoption takes place, they close the records, and the records are not open for like 10 years at a time. So this 10 years she was able to get a hold of the adoption place, sent her birth certificate in, and they sent her the information. But it is so important, when somebody is looking for a family member, you know, it is just not an easy thing. It's tough. You never know how that person is going to react. I remember she was telling me that another friend of hers did the same thing, was trying to find her biological family. And when she did find that biological family, they didn't receive her as well as we received her, but we were happy for her. We were happy that she found us. But there's so many different places out there where you're able to, you know, um, reach out, tap into, and find help. Find help. There's so many abortion that takes place in the United States, compared to maybe other countries. I don't know, but I know the United States. I live in the United States, so we're going to speak about the United States. There's always people marching outside the abortion clinics and things like that, and that alone is scary. But it is so important. So Beverly, remember you were asking me about. We were talking about, um, you know, the Jamaican parents. I don't know if the other island parents are like that, but we were talking about the Jamaican parents,
Mhm.
about them, when, rich parents. And then you and I was talking about, you know, it's just, I would say it's Jamaican parents. I wouldn't necessarily say it's rich parents alone.
Right, right. You're perfectly right.
I would say it's our nationality, and it does. I think Delvon, come on in. There you go. There you go. Welcome back, Delvon.
Thank you. I thought I was out for a while.
Yeah, welcome. I think you can hear me better now, and I don't have their feedback. So yeah, Beverly and I were just talking about, being adopted. But when I was reading your book, and Delvon is going to come on next week, and he's going to be talking about his book. But I started reading his book, and he found us after many years. He was adopted, and he found us after many years of searching for his family, and he has a remarkable story. But we're going to jump right into the adoption part, and next week you're going to come back and you're going to talk about your book, and you're going
Right.
to talk about why you wrote your book and tell us some things about your book. But let's talk a little bit about the adoption and what took place, which you were able, where your mom gave you up for adoption, and then you were living with your I think it's your adopted father. Let's talk a little bit about that, Delvon.
Okay. Okay, so I was given away at birth to a couple who couldn't have kids. And the woman died when I was 1, and the man drowned when I was 4.
Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Oh no.
the sister of the man, the sister of the woman came and took me back to a different city, a place called Richmond, St. Mary.
Yeah.
And I thought I was born there. Eventually, I found out I wasn't. I was born in Highgate. I found that out later on, 53 years later. But I was given away, and the lady worked with that couple who was a headmaster of Zionel High School for a number of years. And when they retired and she moved to the city, to Kingston, to Avondale, she took me with her. And to cut a long story short, I end up in the juvenile system. I went through the system to St. Patrick's Place of Safety, followed by Alpha Boys School.
Mhm.
And And from there, I left and went to the army. So I didn't know I had any family. I never searched for them because I didn't know anything about anybody. I didn't know they exist until 53 years later, into a store in Miami, somebody said to me, "Hey, you have any family from Clarendon, Jamaica?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I never heard of a family before." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You look like my uncle Oswald Campbell in England." So I said to him, "That's the name of my father." Only reason I knew that is because the lady who took me, she went to the Spanish Town register office and found a birth certificate. And I saw the two names, Isilda Wallace and Oswald Campbell. And so I knew my mother and father's name. Never knew anybody, never knew a blood relative or anything like that. So after that, I said to him, "That's the name of my father." And I heard they gave me away, went to England. So he called his mother and told his mother that there's a guy on the phone that looked like uncle. And she asked him to pass the phone over to me. Then when I answered, she passed me the phone, she said to me, "We've been searching for you for 53 years."
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Just like that. And so she gave me information how to contact her and visit with her. And then I did that on Christmas Eve of 2014. And when I went to the house, she had lived on the same street, off the same street I lived on years ago before I even knew of them. And just on the opposite side of the road. So I went and knocked the door. And when they opened the door, it's like I walked through a mirror. Everybody in there looking like me.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so they gave me numbers to England, and I spent Christmas calling England. By the time you know it, my sister came, another sister on my mother's side came and visited with me, and then they flew me to England, and I met a whole bunch of other people. People who have been friends with, playing the same band with for years, was family members, didn't know.
And you didn't even know that.
No.
Wow. Wow.
That is a remarkable story, and my story is something similar. You know, so yeah.
Mark, I wasn't adopted legal. You know, back in those days, you could pass the kid over the fence if the other guy wants a kid.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that was what happened with me. I know, and my mother didn't give me away. The story I was told is that my mother. Okay, so my mother was a helper, was 16-year-old working for my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had me, and I heard there was issues with him and his wife. And 9 months later, he had my sister. So I have one full sister and 30 other siblings.
So you had your sister on the wife's side, or was there a sister from your mother's side?
The sister on my mother's side. So I have one full sister, and the rest, the other 30 is between my father and my mother.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how that is in Jamaica. You know, a lot of parents that grow you up, like your grandparents and your aunt, usually grow you up. It's usually not your biological father or biological mother that grows you up.
Until you find out later.
Until you find out later. When you went off and came back on, I was telling Beverly that my daughter, we were talking about, rich parents in Jamaica sending kids away to go have baby and then come back. But I told her, I say it's not the rich parents alone, because when I was in New Jersey, it was when I was in New Jersey. Hi, Michelle. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Vivian. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So that's my lender, Michelle, and then we have Beverly here, and we have Delvon here. We're talking about adoption and things like that, and biological parents and things like that. But we were just talking about Jamaican parents or island parents when you have children. What they tend to do is, when you get pregnant when you're young, what they tend to do is ship you off to this school or something like that, or send you someplace so nobody won't know it. And then Beverly was asking me, she said, "How did you feel when you came back?" I said, "I felt empty. I felt empty and lost when I came back, and it was like I blocked everything, put everything behind in my head." But Delvon was talking about, here you're playing with band members. and you don't even know that you're related to these people. You know, I always remember my mom always say, remember always to ask the person where, when they're from Jamaica, ask them who are they from or who are they related to, because you never know who you're related to. You might be marrying your brother or your sister and don't even know it.
Well, the thing is, I started asking those questions like uh, probably 7 years ago. Since 2014, that's when I started asking
Yeah,
those
because I
questions.
remember when I met you then. I met you at Marlin, I think it was, and then that's when you just found your family.
Right, and Marlon is a cousin of mine also.
So
Right.
you live in Claremont here?
Yes,
Yes.
Where?
I live in Green Valley Country Club.
Green Valley. I don't know where Green
Yeah, the
Valley
Yeah,
is.
golf course.
off
The
of
golf
Highway
course.
50.
Oh, Marlon and I are neighbors, you know.
Your neighbors with Marlon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, she
God.
live in the same neighborhood Marlon lives in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So is grandfather is my uncle.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in
But
Claremont too.
I'm sorry.
I'm in Claremont as well.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
so Michelle is my lender, one of my preferred lender. So she's here in Claremont. So a lot of us, yeah,
I didn't know
all four
Michelle
of us.
was in Claremont.
Yeah, Michelle is in Claremont. Our office is in East Orlando, but she's located here in Claremont.
Oh,
So
okay.
you know, she's one of my preferred persons. So she's always supports us, you know, and you know, she's always there for me and always, coming on and talking about lending and things like that. But I was talking how my daughter found me after 40 years. She went on Facebook and found me on Facebook.
Wow.
So it's almost like I jumped into a 40-year-old life and find out that I have two grandkids. One just graduated out of college last year, the end of last year, and then the other just graduated out of high school. I just came back from North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, where my grandson graduated, my oldest grandson. But it's amazing just to think when you're thrust into this family of adoption, or you didn't, and it's the same thing Delvon was talking about, how the people that he grew up around, he really didn't look like that person. When he walked into the room, all of a sudden he looks like everyone. And that was her question. Her question is, how comes I don't look like these people that I'm around? So she started asking questions about what's going on. How come I look so different? Because she's about Delvon's complexion. And she keep asking, why do I look so different from everyone else? Finally, her adopted mom, after she, was old enough, which was recently, now I think it's could have been about 6 years now, where she gave her the key to the vault, or I call it the vault, the box in the bank, and says, hey, there's some documents in there for you in the bank deposit box. And she went and found her birth certificate. So that's the birth certificate. She took it and sent it into New Jersey, and New Jersey only opened up the birth record every 10 years. So it was the 10th year that they opened it, and her husband encouraged her to go on to find me. And she sent it off. She sent off her birth certificate. They sent her back the records, and shortly after that, she went on Facebook. And I guess my name is spelled differently, so she didn't have too much of a difficult time finding me. But that's one of the reasons why I didn't change my last name, because of that reason. So, but it's a good thing. And we were just talking about, you know, adoption compared to having an abortion, giving up that child. There's so much possibility out there, because there's so many people that cannot have children, because now a lot of people are waiting until they're in their 40s to have kids, and realizing that
Too late.
it's too late. You can't
Mhm.
conceive. So then at least adoption is different ways. And the pastor asked us to talk a little bit, and I even picked up some brochures about adoption, a Christian adoption, because you gotta remember, it's very important where your child is sent to.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't know if
Your child
Delvon
is.
was abused when he was young, or but there's some people you send them into. I was watching a movie yesterday, and that poor little boy that they adopted, and the bigger girl that was inside the house sexually abused that poor child.
Oh no.
Sexually abused him, and of course the lady that adopted him really didn't know that she was doing that. You know, until he went into service and came back, and then Denzel Washington was in the movie.
Oh, I saw that
That's an
movie.
excellent movie.
I saw
It is. It's an excellent
Yes.
movie, and it was so good when
I
I was
saw
Based
that
on a true
movie.
story too.
What
Yeah.
story was that?
I forgot. Wasn't
God, what's the name of it?
Yeah, me too.
I'll try and I'll try and
I forgot the name of
yeah.
it.
You know, I forgot. I don't remember the name of it, but when I remember the name of it, yeah, I'll put it in the chat. But it was such a good movie.
Yeah.
And it was Anton Fisher. Okay,
Anton Fisher.
Yes, that's the name of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Anton Fisher movie it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I saw it. I saw that movie.
But before you came on, Michelle, I was talking to Delvon has a book that he's going to come back on, and right
Nice.
now, and the reason why I brought him on this week, and he's coming back on next week. The reason why I brought him back on, when I started reading this book, I realized that he went through some of the things that I went through where he was adopted, because that's how the book started out.
Okay.
So the name of the book is Beyond My Smile.
Nice.
You know, raising about the rejection and his memoir. So but you know, I haven't finished reading it yet. I'm going to try and finish reading it before next week, so we can dive into it some more. But it is so important. You know, I was talking to Beverly about walking in someone's shoes. You know, a lot of times, sometimes people said, you know, I understand, but you really don't understand unless you've walked inside someone's shoes. So for years, I lived like a dark life where everything was behind my head, and it was in a dark place back there, and it didn't really come out until when this child find me. When this child find me, that's when everything started coming out. And even that, my mom didn't know a lot of stuff that went on. She didn't know really what went on, because I kept it such a secret. You know, what really went on behind the scene and stuff like that. And it was horrible. You know, it was horrible. So I put all of that stuff behind me. So, you know, I don't know if Delvon, if I didn't read, you know, all of it about, you know, when you were adopted, did those people treat you well?
No. I mean, no. They treated me the best way they could.
They could.
I grew up on the whip, up on the beatings up until I was 17 when I joined the JDF.
Wow.
But the thing is, back then I'm not upset or anything, because you know, that's how those people, they grew like that, and the people who they grew with grew like that. So it's just part of the thing, you know. I mean, now if anything like that happens, especially in the US, they're being under the jail, you know. But it's part of life, and I accept that as part of life. I thought that was the only way, and it doesn't bother me, and I'm not gonna sit back and mope on what happened. That's their business, and that's how they took it. They beat you with love behind it, you know, and that's their way. So I'm not gonna fight with anybody, or it doesn't matter to me. All that mattered to me is that I find the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. That's all.
And then just think, if that didn't happen to you, this book might have not came out of you. You know,
Exactly.
your testimony.
Yeah.
You know, and God gives us each a testimony, and that's why it's called a testimony. So you can tell people, and you can also help people. From you telling your testimony, it helped people to grow. It helped people to open up. It helped people where you can mentor people because you have been through it. And we're talking about walking in your shoe. That mean you're walking in somebody's. That mean you're walking in that person's shoe because you already been there, and you can help them out of it. And that's why it's called a testimony.
Right, and that's one of the main reasons. Looking back at a sister of mine that she carried a lot of the. I was scared to meet her at first when I heard on both sides of the fence, the family, she's crazy and stuff. But I met her, and I was not gonna meet with her, but so, you know, judge her for myself, you know. And I loved her. The little time we spent, we met a year before she died. She carried a lot of anger with whatever happened to me and whatever happened to her. And, you know, I said to her, you need to stop and just forget about those things and move on. And it's hard. It was hard for her, but she had an aneurysm and she passed. And a year later, so I only met her once, but talked to her 100 times, and so that was not going to happen to me because that's their business, wasn't mine. Mine is to survive, and that's what I did. And I'd love to speak to kids or even adults who went through all of that to show them that it's not good and it's not healthy.
Yeah, forgiveness is the key.
Say again?
Forgiveness is the key.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yes.
I look back at it and analyze it for myself. Listen, those people in the 50s, they got flogging, and the people who flogged them got flogging. So it's coming back from when, where, right? So
you know what too, Delvin? Yeah. My father, sometimes before I was born again, I said I would never forgive that man. That man, if anybody tell him anything on the street about us, he come home, he doesn't ask any question, he just beat you. You don't know why he's beating you, but you get a whipping. I have 2 marks on my leg. Will take me to my grave, that from my father. But I forgive him.
yeah,
He's dead and gone long time. But
it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know better. Didn't know better.
That's how they brought. That's how, I mean,
yes.
all 4 of us probably caught a little bit of the millennium. That on 1959.
They didn't know better.
Yeah, so I was born 59. So a lot of that era happened to me. If you ask kids our age right now in Jamaica, they wouldn't even know what you're talking about because a different millennium. But when people report that you did something out of the street and your guardian know, oh man, you're gonna pay for the price. They don't even want to know. They just want to hear that you did this or you get a beating. And I lived on that until 17 years old.
I got a lot of beating too. When I was young. Michelle, Michelle, did you get beaten when you were young?
You know what? My mother, God rest her soul, my mother was Jamaican and my father was American. And my mother was from Kingston and she came to New York when she was about, 10. So, but if she was here, she would say Michelle was such a good girl. I didn't have to beat her. She would tell everybody that. So I didn't really get spanking. So because I was, you hear the stories about West Indian parents, the wrath of God. So when she told me not to do anything, I did not do it. So I reverenced her. So yeah.
So you're from a different era.
Yeah.
But we didn't even have to do anything for my father beat us.
Oh yeah. Well,
if he just hears something, anybody tell him anything. And I remember one day, this is high school I'm coming from now. And this boy, I can't forget his name, named Marlon Green. And he was carrying my book. And my father happened to be coming down the street. And he said, wait until you get home. And I'm telling you, that man asked me no question. He just started beating. beating.
Yeah, that's how it was. Yeah.
But
that's just how it was in that era.
And he never said one day, I love you. Never. Never. But my mother used to kill us with love.
There you go.
Yeah. But my father never, ever one day say, I love you.
I understand.
He didn't know what love is. Sometimes I was wondering if his service changed him because he was in the British Royal Air Force.
Oh, that's a possibility.
That's what changed him. Because my mother said he wasn't like that. My mother told him that they gave him something to eat in there to make him bold or fearless, something like that.
Well, it goes back to say, with that's why when it comes to the, being adopted and being in the right household, because those are your natural parents and they're beating you. But when you're adopted and you're adopted into a family and they beat you, it's almost like they don't like you. You feel that's the way you feel.
Yeah, and you already have feelings of abandonment, and so now you get this, right?
Yes.
So I was going to ask, so in Jamaica, so Vivian, when I came on, you were explaining how you know, if you're pregnant at an early age, they send you off and the baby, you know, it was whatever given for adoption. Does the Jamaican system have a foster care system like in America too? Or is it just adoption or orphanage? Or how does it work in Jamaica?
I think Delvon can speak on that because I'm not. You know, my child was given up in New Jersey, so they
Oh,
have that
okay.
here. But Delvon, I think when I was reading Delvon book, I think I was kind of surprised too. He said he was in an orphanage, right?
You're right, right. Okay, so you have orphanage, you have some schools that are orphanages, but the thing is, it's mixed because I was in a place of safety.
Mm-hmm.
And that's through the governments, through Social Development Commission. That's the juvenile system. But half the kids there, apart from being bad, was parentless kids that went there, you know. So it's a mixture of both, you know.
Okay.
I wasn't bad, but they thought I was bad by playing with the kids in the neighborhood, and I got beaten for that. I think it's beating out of their love and protection towards you. Why you got those beating? Because they don't want you to play on the street, and it's a residential area. My friends used to pass by, and they don't call out to me because if grandma call her, if she heard that, I get a beating. So, and then since the place of safety, I got transferred to another place, which was Alpha Boys School, and you have a lot of parentless kids in Alpha Boys School. Plus, you have kids that been sent there because of the juvenile system. So it's confusing. They both merged together, you know, but not official. To me, not officially. Like it's an orphanage and it's just people without kids. It's both bad kids and good kids inside there.
Yeah. So,
I know
go
the
ahead.
Catholic
Yeah.
sisters, they have a school for abandoned kids. They live there like a home for
That's Alpha Boys School.
the boys' school. They have the girls' school too.
Okay.
Because I know some girls who were in the girls' school.
Okay. So
they live there, and they.
Okay, so let me tell you about that. When I went to St. Patrick's, Alpha, they had the girls' school, the commercial college, the academy, and the primary school, and then the boys' school. There were like 5, 6 schools on the same compound. So when I got there in 1971 or so, when I got there, the girls' school was still open. But they closed it down because the girls used to break out and get pregnant and things. They closed down that school. So the whole girls' school became Alpha Commercial College.
Oh.
Right? And then, so that school went out. And then you have the primary and the academy. And then you have us. So, yeah, I'm familiar with that. And I know who used to run all of those schools. Sister Magdalene and all of them used to. I know the whole history of that part during my time. So. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to hear that, you know, where all the girls are getting pregnant. Somebody told me that story.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that story. But
you're right, Miss Beverly. The girls' school was there.
Yes, I know this girl was from there. She and her sisters.
Oh yeah.
So Delvon, let's talk about the searching. When you were searching, how difficult was it to find everyone else? You know, I know you say you found some family that was in England, and then you walk into the room and everybody looks like you. So once you found one person, was it easy to find everyone else?
Yeah, basically, when they found me, I never ever looked for family because I didn't know what to look for or who to look for. So when they found me, I was found on the resemblance and got invited to the house, and the lady turned out to me, my grandaunt's daughter. Her son is the one who found me on the resemblance. They gave me numbers to England and to their sister. So I spent Christmas Day calling all over England. By the time you know it, one of my older sisters, she came down first. Then my sister on my mother's side came. She and her fiance came, and it just ballooned from there. I mean, I did over 6 different DNA tests, and it just ballooned there. I'm finding more people than a lot of people who knew each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And it
fantastic.
was so coincidental. I ran into people in Georgia, and we started talking, and asked them their last name, which I wasn't familiar with. And I said, well, who is your grandparents? And they told me, and I'm like looking at my tree, and I'm like, well, and they say, yeah, that's my grandmother, that's my great grand. I'm like, what? Unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a great
remarkable.
story.
Yeah, it is. It is. It
Yeah.
is. That's
Yeah.
why I said I'm glad that you were able to write your memoir from all of that.
Yes.
You know, and Delvon, he's pretty famous too. He played with a lot of famous players. You know,
Oh.
Oh,
musician,
you're a
musician
musician?
as well.
Yes.
Ah,
What do you play, Delvon? What instrument do you play?
I play the trumpet.
Okay,
wow.
nice.
So
Yeah.
you learned
Now,
that
now
in
did you now
in,
did you
in
find that
Africa?
did you find that your family was musical when you
Oh my
met
gosh.
up with them?
No, I had no idea that there's a lot of musical relative family I have. They have singers, instrumentals, you name it. My niece, she sang at Prince Harry's wedding in the Kingdom Choir,
Wow.
and she came here they came on a long tour, and we went to Gainesville and watched and listened to them. Real good. A
Beautiful.
lot of musicians. I got cousins who were part of Boney M in England. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I learned a lot of things about the family. Very musical. My sister, my niece that sang with the Kingdom Choir, her sister, she also sings, a lot of music.
It's amazing, you know. Yeah, it's amazing how you know, all of a sudden your family come together and they have all kinds of musical background. You look alike, you know, and it's so great just to have. I think last year, it was a year before, I bought my granddaughter down here wanted a I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she says, I want one of those DNA kits. So I bought it for her, and I looked at it, and she tell us, you know, we have 8 people in England, we have people in Ireland, we have people in Africa. So it was just kind of pretty cool just to see, you know, how the DNA, how the tree, you know, the different ways that the tree goes. You know, it's amazing to think that, you know, from just one little DNA test, you know.
All the Caribbean and elsewhere, it's all just like that. You do the test, you find out if people from all over Asia, all those places.
But it's amazing. I love just when I find my roots and I find my Caribbean people. When I sell real estate, I tend to be, I would say, biased. That's why I named the team the Caribbean team, because, you know, I want to focus on the Caribbean people, because, you know, you can have your focus all over the place, but it's amazing when everybody, they don't even, a lot of people don't even know my name. They call me the Caribbean team, you know, because a lot of people can't even pronounce my name. You know, but it's amazing just when you think that, okay, you find your niche and this is where you're going to stick to. You're going to stick to something Caribbean, and you're going to focus on your Caribbean people and stuff like that, because they got some remarkable people that comes out of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, they got some brilliant doctors, lawyers, nurses. They have some brilliant people that come out. And the thing is, the people that comes out of the Caribbean, they're so bright. You know,
brilliant.
Yeah, they're brilliant people. You know, because, you know what, just like you said, you take one stick and conk them in their head or something like that, because, you know, so they can learn.
Have to learn.
You know,
that's a Catholic school type of thing. That conk in the head with a ruler.
Your head, so you
Oh
can
yes. Oh, I know about that.
The sisters did that. Yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah. But it's amazing just to think that my beautiful Caribbean people, you know, it's amazing when you meet them and you're in the same room with them. You know, you can just let go and speak your language, even though Jamaican is not a language, but it's just a dialect. But you can just let go, and as soon as somebody says, "Hey, I hear an accent," and then, you know, all of a sudden you just break out, "Yeah, man, walk on."
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. So Michelle, do you know any of those patois?
You know what? I had to say, I'm the honorary Jamaican on the team. You know, they used to call me half coconut when I used to go visit in New York, my grandparents. So my parents divorced when I was 5, and my mother's mother died when she was 16, and she came to, like I said, to the States when she was 16 to live with her father, who was from Kingston. And when growing up, though, I will tell you, I would always say, "Mommy," I said, "Mommy, what did Grandpa say?" So
Yeah.
yeah, so I wasn't around it enough to, kind of really, pick it up. So, but yeah, but I've got the heritage, the food, the cuisine. If anything, I'm probably just more familiar with the cuisine than anything. But it's funny though, my mother, she didn't have a strong Jamaican accent. People would ask where she's from, but she just sounded so proper. She was just so proper. She didn't have a strong dialect, so I mean, she understood patois, of course, but she didn't. Yeah, yeah, you have to have met her. She just had like her own little polite, perfect language. She didn't sound Jamaican, but they knew she wasn't from here. But yeah, but she died 20 years ago. So it's
Oh,
been a while now. But and she took me to Jamaica when I was 8 to show me where she grew up in Kingston, and then meet some relatives, and then she had a niece that came to live with her when she lived in Germany. So yeah, I always gravitate because it's part of me, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
it's part of my culture. And
Yes,
even
your
though I
culture.
wasn't born in Jamaica, it's in my blood, and I always gravitate toward, I know when the accent, I said, "Where in Jamaica are you from?" And always just trying to yoke up. So I thank God for Miss Vivian, because when I was going to the Ocho Rios, I always find the best Jamaican places wherever I go, right?
Yeah.
And Miss Carol at Ocho Rios, she said, "You got to meet Miss Vivian." So here we are.
Yes, and I'm happy I met you and Miss Carol. Every time I walk in there, she said, "You're my best customer, right?"
Yeah.
Because every time I have a client, I'll stop by and I'll have lunch or have dinner
Yeah.
or something, with her. But a lot of time the Jamaicans them try to be pull apart from each other. But I think we need to bind together more.
Oh,
More.
yes.
My husband is
Absolutely.
Spanish. And
All for that.
the way the Spanish bind together, they help each other, they bind together, they help each
Mhm.
other. But the Jamaican tend to, like, not all the other island does that, but the Jamaican tend to fight against each other.
Yes.
Instead of helping each other, they tend to fight against each other. And then now I see how the other culture are. The Asian, they bond together. The Spanish, they band together. But I'm trying to bring all these Jamaican people together to be one. Help each other, grow each other business. Just like when Delvon said he has a book that's going out. Right away. He was at the Jerk Festival. He says, yeah, we're gonna purchase a book. So here's his book. Pick up a copy of it. Pick up a copy of it. Because we got to support each other.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't like to read a book. Beverly does. I like to read a digital book because when I'm driving, I get to listen to the book. But I did went ahead and pick up a copy of his book because it wasn't digital. If it was digital, I'm sure I would have gotten a copy of it too.
it will be soon.
All right, so I will get when it's digital, I will get a copy of it when it's digital as well.
Vivian, you said you wanted to say the first lady is right here. She want to say hi.
Mark, what's up? Let me see your face. Can you sit down and talk a little bit? So
hello.
you're the one
This
that
lady.
puts up with Delvon. So tell us about when you first met Delvon.
You already know how I put up with him. It was at the gym. I had joined a gym, and one of the perks was having a personal trainer. So I didn't know any of them, so they were naming off names. I said, just give me the last one. So I'm waiting because I'm very prompt. My appointment was at 10 a.m. and I was there at probably 9:55. And I'm waiting, and time is going by. He's not there yet. 10:10. This figure whizzes by me, and I said, "That better be my personal trainer."
Jamaica time.
No problem,
Always late.
But little did I know, he didn't have a car. He ran the whole way. So I didn't know this until many, many months later. So he gets props for that.
Oh, that
Awesome.
is it. So was he the personal trainer?
Yes, that was him. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
By the time he
Poor
got
one.
there, he was tired. He was running.
Oh, he was in a mood, all right.
Oh my goodness! What a great story that is.
What a
Yeah.
nice story.
Just give me the last one. What a nice story that is. And you guys been together ever since. I thank you for for putting up with my cousin, but you know, you make his life so much easier. And I know you guys also had that dog, that pet grooming service, because he used to on Facebook he used to show us all, hey Beverly, he can groom your dog. He has
Yeah,
this.
where do you have your pet grooming?
You should see the pictures.
Very nice meeting you. I'm
Yes,
gonna
take
let
care.
him
Thank
take
you.
over.
All right.
Okay.
You know, but this guy here is jack of all trades, master of I don't know if he's master of any.
So,
I never
Delvon,
mastered it, but
are
I
you
do
the
it.
groomer?
Yes.
Where you have your place?
Well, I don't. I retired, fully retired, but there's something I can't let go. It's grooming and music.
I have a little dog, you know.
I do it at my house.
Oh,
I used to be mobile. I used to go to people's house, but
yeah, that's expensive. I couldn't afford the grooming and the truck. It's too expensive. Those people charging 100 and change.
yeah. Well, the thing is, as I say, I'm retired, so what I charge to groom is what they charge like 15 years ago. So
Mm.
it's just pocket money, and I like doing it. So I never let it go. Just like
Well,
music.
I'm going to be your customer.
What type of dog you have?
Maltese and Shih Tzu mix.
About 2 pounds.
Oh, I love Shih
No problem.
It's little.
About 2 pounds.
Yeah, no problem. You good?
It's 7.5 pounds away.
You know,
Yeah,
but
that's
I,
fine. I'll do it. No problem.
Do you have a
Okay, good.
location, or do you do it at the house there, or how do you?
The thing is, I used to just go to people's house and do it. If from Miami for years, but I met in a bad accident where they had to
real bad,
Yeah.
real bad
Real bad
accident,
accident.
guys.
Oh,
So
no.
if I'm going to somebody's house, I gotta pack the car 4 times. The time when I leave here and when I get there, and then I gotta unpack in the car. So that's
Oh, yeah.
4 times. And
Yeah.
I just
That's too
decided.
much.
Yes, I bought an hydraulic table and I do it from the house when I have the time. If I have the
I
time.
see.
Well, you have a customer, so you'll make the time.
Okay, yeah, the time. Yeah,
It's only
yeah.
God's grace why he's here today. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, only God grace. So
Yeah.
I guess
It's
when
your
the
time,
Lord is not ready for you, I'm just telling you
That's
how
right.
when the Lord is not ready for you, he will not take you. Because Delvon, you needed to write this book. Okay.
Yeah,
You needed to write this book because the accident was so bad. I remember they had to airlift you.
yeah.
Okay. He
That's
rides
right.
bicycle. He rides bicycle.
Yeah. Are you born again, Delvon?
As always born again.
What
Yeah.
does that mean?
I grew up in 6 different churches over my lifetime. Yep.
So
I've been,
you accept Christ as your personal savior?
of course.
He
Yeah.
better.
Okay.
If not, he would be here because the Lord, probably wouldn't be spared. Because I'm just telling you, he was on his deathbed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
wonderful.
So I'm just
Wonderful.
grateful and thankful that God
Yes,
saved him in
thank
order
the
to,
Lord.
to be able to tell his testimony and
Mhm.
help other
Amen.
people going through what he went through and being adopted and telling his story. And adoption, is something that paying it forward is something that you're blessing someone. Instead of taking a life, you're having this child, even though it puts you out having this child and you're giving it up. And here it is, a child that was given up for adoption, living in an orphanage, and here he is, he's able to tell his story, years later. God, we give the glory. What a blessing that is that we're able
Amen.
to live and tell our story. But just, I'm telling you, the things that he have gone through, wait till he talks about his book next week and he dig deep and dive into that book about the things that he's gone through and and being from there and to being in the United States. He'll tell his story next week.
Yeah.
But it's just
I'd wait
amazing.
to read your book.
But the adoption thing, there's adoption and there's adoption.
Mhm.
I was like, there's no, the people couldn't have kids, and they said, oh, they couldn't have kids. Okay, here's one.
Just take him here. Take him.
Yeah,
No
so
paperwork.
There's no paperwork.
No paperwork.
No.
Viv, it's just like George.
Yeah.
When George, the mother had about 13 kids. and her sister didn't have any kids. She was married for years and couldn't have any kids. And she came to her sister's house and she said, I like that one dear. Can you give me him?
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's how it
I gave him
Serious.
to the aunt.
Yeah,
And I mean, he was a feather in their cap.
yeah,
Wow.
that's how it was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a feather in their cap. Nothing could touch him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty special. But in the
Yeah,
meantime, if you have to give it up forcefully, it hurts. It's not just picking a child and say, "I take that one." You
Well,
yes.
know,
the thing is,
but for you to have it and give it up, it's a difficult situation. But you're glad that it turns out where the child wasn't abused, the child was taken care of.
Mhm.
They're able to find you 40 years later, and everything is peachy cream.
well,
Mhm.
the couple that I was given to, they couldn't have kids, and they found out they couldn't have kids, and that's how they end up with me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's a blessing. It's a blessing that you actually you made your way to the United States. Become an author. And a bunch of other things, a musician and things like that. They said the stone that the builder refused. So
Always with a head
Yeah.
yeah,
cornerstone.
always, yeah, the
Beautiful.
head cornerstone.
yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Uh,
So but it's cool. So we're heading up on 51 minutes on our timing. Is there anything anyone wants to end this conversation with today?
Yes,
Go ahead,
you
Miss Bev.
know, every one of us, God wrote our stories before we were ever born. So, things that happen to us, it's no mistake. It was supposed to happen
Mhm.
because that's what make us, give us character. That's what make us stronger. That's what make us us. Me, you, your experience makes you. My experience make me. Some of us do not learn from it. Some of us, it brings out the worst in us. But the better of us, learn from our experience and we grow from it. And we
Mhm.
love. We love others just like unselfishly because of our experience and how God is mending us together.
We're gonna say amen to that.
Yeah.
Michelle, you got
Amen.
what last word, Michelle?
Amen. This is just really beautiful. We're all part of the body of Christ, whether we accept it or not, right? And so
Amen.
everything is that we experience is not by happenstance, but for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And God knew from the very beginning on, who our family members would be, who our mothers and fathers would be, to make us who He wanted us to be in Him for His glory, whether we want to accept it or not.
Mhm.
So this
Yeah,
is very
sometimes we don't
beautiful.
have a choice of who we choose to be.
Right.
Our family
Yes.
is our family. Our blood is our blood. And
Mhm.
you're so
Yeah,
right
listen,
about
you
that.
can choose your family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But thank you, Michelle. Delvon, what's your last word?
and my last word is, I'd love to help those people who faced the same situation as I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see if I can change both adults and kids that are going through stuff like this,
Hmm.
and that's my aim.
And we can work together on that one.
We
I
all
picked
can
up a
work,
few.
work together on
Yeah,
this.
I
Yeah.
picked up a few brochure when I was at my daughter's church when we had the opportunity. They had adoption Sunday there. There's a place called Foster Hope in a Child, and then Christian Adoption Service, and then there's Safe Family for Children. So, but there's so many out there, all we have to do is find some place that have adoption out there, whether we adopt a child, not by paper, just like you say, but by just going out and says, hey, I'd like to be a big brother, hey, I'd like to be a big sister, or something like that. And maybe once a month or once every other month, pick them up and take them to the movie or something like that, because we never know what people are going through. We never know what children are going through. Just like you said, Michelle, about the abandonment, you already feel that already. But I'm glad that my daughter wasn't able to come on, because she said she had some plans with her husband to go out for Father's Day. But I am glad that she reached out to me and had the opportunity to find me, and we're building a relationship. But sometimes it's difficult for me still. I don't have the nightmares like I used to have before. I used to have a lot of nightmares and stuff like that. As I get older, it's kind of balancing out, but the childhood wasn't an easy childhood, but I got through it anyway. And just like you said, Devon, for your sister to be holding grudge, that grudge that you're holding can give you an aneurysm. It can give you a heart attack. It can give you all kinds of stuff. So you have to let go off of that. You have to let go off of it for yourself. And a lot of people don't understand that you have to let go off of it for yourself, because if you don't, then of course it will kill you.
Yeah.
It will kill you. And we just have to know that we have to let go. We're let go. We're not let going it for that person. We have to let go it for ourselves, of that person hurting us, whether they were beating us, whether they raped us, whatever it is that they do to us. But that story, don't stop telling your story. Continue telling your story, and always be reaching out, because you were there, before, so now you just need to help other people. That's why you go before, so God can, set it up where you can go ahead and help other people. So there's a lot of people out there that are hurting and need help. And, let's continue to pay it forward in our community. No matter what we do, always remember that we are of God, and God gives us that discernment for whatever it is that we need to do, and we just have to do it. But sometimes we tend to be stubborn, and God gives us something like this podcast that I started. I get lazy sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. That sometimes I don't feel like I want to do it, but then all of a sudden I'm coming back from North Carolina, and he said, you need to do this. I don't know reason why I was doing it, but I need to do it. Then all of a sudden I start reading your book, and I said, oh, really? And then when Miss Beverly and I was talking, before you guys came on, to says, yes, this is something that we need to do. When God gives you something, just like he gave you that book to write, you have to write that book. Because if you do not write that book, then he doesn't stop. And he's a God. He's always in. He will not stop. He will not stop writing you until you do what you can disobey God, but you know what? You can always stand there, because it's not going to work out that way. Okay, it's not about you, it's about God. You always have to do whatever it is that he tells you to do, and you have to pray about doing it. I just became the vice president of my realtor association.
Wow, you got it.
Congratulations.
In Sumter County. And
Congratulations.
I've been fighting against this for many years. I've been fighting against this, I think, for I don't know, 5 or 4 years. I've been fighting. keep saying no. I keep saying no, but I kept praying, and I kept praying, and I kept praying. I said, God, if you let this happen, then I will do this. And that's exactly what he did. He let it happen in order for me to do it, in order for me to accept
Good
it.
for you, girl.
Regardless, I was not going to accept it until he let that happen, and he let it happen, and I was able to accept it. So as of Thursday, last Thursday, this Thursday, I became the vice president of the association of realtor of Lake and Sumter County. So yeah, so
well, congratulations. Awesome, beautiful
Anyway,
news.
guys, I gotta be somewhere at 6. It's just 2 minutes to.
That's fine. And take care. And it's good to talk to you. And log on next week. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
All right. Good to see everyone.
Okay, nice meeting you.
You can bring that dog.
All right.
Bring that puppy.
Right.
All right. She will definitely bring the puppy.
Let me show you him.
Yeah. She's gonna go show you the puppy. But yeah. But we have some events coming up. Don't forget that Bridget event is coming up. Oh, so cute.
That's Princey. Say hi, Princey.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like Princess. Looks like one of mine.
Prince.
Yeah.
He's a boy.
He's adorable.
That's Princess up there.
Oh,
on the wall.
look how cute. Yes, I can see it on your wall. Looks just like it. right
Yeah.
there.
Nice.
Oh, so
Yeah.
cool.
All right, no problem. Oh
All
my
right.
God.
All
Take care.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
See you
take
next
care.
week.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye.
good evening, everyone.
All right,
Okay,
so
bye bye.
okay, take care. So Michelle, don't go anywhere yet. Don't forget that she's gone. But don't forget that there's an event coming up. Bridget is coming up. She has
Okay.
that
You
brunch
can
that's
take
coming
me
up.
off.
Huh?
You want me to stay on?
Yeah, stay on. I'm gonna finish up. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
stay on. So Bridget has a bank. She has like a brunch coming up, and that's gonna be coming up. So, but at All Nation, that's gonna be on June 25th. So she has an event, a reggae brunch coming up there. So at the All Nation building. And she has to sign up. And then also the first time home buyers class is coming back again in July. So if anyone wants to take it, reach out to me. Reach the home buyers
I'm
class.
back.
All right.
I had just hit the button when I heard you say don't.
Yeah, so the home buyers class is coming up in the first week of July. So if anyone wants to take it, please remember that blenders are helping you with whatever it is that you need help with. I'm going to have Michelle say a little bit about what she has going on with her company, what kind of incentive you have there, what kind of loan you got going on, what kind of grants you got going on. Tell them a little bit about it. But take the home buyers class, and you'd be surprised to know Orange County is still giving up to $50,000. All the other counties are giving money as well. Builders are buying down interest rate bill and then handing you some closing costs. So there's a lot of great deals are out there compared to buying a home, compared to renting an apartment. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about what you got going on at your company.
Awesome. Really quick here, Vivian. Is that home buyers going to be online or is that going to be in person?
It's always online.
Okay.
It goes from it's Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 6:30 until 9 because it works better for me and easier for me when it's online. The last class had about 30 something people inside of it because it works better for me that way compared to me driving. So they still get their 8 hours certificate just being online. So it's still certified. So
Great. Well, I work with Movement Mortgage. As Vivian mentioned, I am one of our preferred lenders, and Movement is a great company. We share a lot of the Christian and compassion values of Christ and giving back to the community. So we brand ourselves, or we are an impact lender, which means, our profits, they all don't go into the pockets of the shareholders, but we give back to the community. So Movement Mortgage has a Movement Foundation that gives 40% of their profits away to communities and charter schools. They're right now in Atlanta or Georgia and North Carolina, but the goal is in the next 10 years to have them across the nation in the top countries, the top cities, the metropolitan areas. What's new on the horizon, though, I will just say what differentiates us from a lot of lenders that, we're very attentive, detailed. We keep everyone involved, and we're fast with doing our mortgages. So we start from the back end with collecting all the documents. Well, as the borrowers work with us, collecting all the documents. And then once we have a contract, we have the documents in hand and we can get a underwriter decision within 6 hours. So that really works well for us in getting the decisioning, in a quick manner. But what's new on horizon for everyone in the state of Florida is the Florida Hometown Heroes, which used to be designated for just certain occupations only. Well, as of July 1st, it's open up to every Floridian, everyone that's a resident in the state of Florida. And so as of July 1st, yes. And another good thing with that is just to give you a little bit of information about Florida Hometown Heroes, it's a first mortgage participating in the government program. So USDA, VA, FHA, that's the first mortgage. The nice part of it is the second mortgage, the down payment assistance, which is again, second mortgage, 0% deferred. So,
wow.
You have your first and your second mortgage, and your second mortgage, which you can use toward closing costs and down payment, is not due. If you want to make payments, you can, but it's not due until your loan matures or if you retitle or sell the home. Another great thing about the Florida Hometown Heroes update is that it used to be a maximum of $25,000 or 5% of the loan amount, whichever was less. That cap has been raised to $35,000. So a lot of great things. So it's open up to everyone that lives in Florida, and you have an opportunity to get more down payment assistance.
Woo! That's great stuff.
Oh, that's very good.
That is great stuff. I'm excited about that. Yeah, when I learned that it was open to all the profession, I just talked to somebody that I met that I saw in Golden Cross. I was telling them about that program, so I told them to contact me, so I can send them over to you.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So
Thanks.
that's pretty cool. But
Yes.
I thank everyone for joining us, and I see you next time on Your Voice Matter, and I'll see you next Sunday. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening. Everyone, enjoy your Father's Day.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. See you on the next episode of Your Voice Matters.
All right. Another